Bobby Guest was 4 years old. He loved living on the farm and helping his father with all the work that needed to be done. It was always fun to watch the cows and horses in the pasture. In the spring, his father would plant the grain. Then in autumn, his father would harvest the crop. One of Bobby's jobs was to look after the pillow on the tractor seat. Every night he would take it into the house. In the morning, he would put the pillow back onto the seat for his father to sit on when he drove the tractor. One day, his father was fixing a machine in the shed and was using the tractor to generate electricity. Bobby noticed the pillow had fallen off the seat. He and his sister raced over to the tractor. Bobby grabbed the pillow when suddenly it got caught in the power takeoff.
Don't remember a lot more other than vividly remembering my arm laying on the ground.
All of a sudden I heard a scream, and so I went back over and looked and saw Bob put a glove on his shoulder, and we got him in the car and took him to the hospital as soon as we could.
I spent a fair bit of time in the hospital after. It wasn't just the initial accident that was. I spent a number of days in the hospital with getting surgery on my shoulder so that I could keep the joint.
We got him an artificial arm, and he would get a little rough with it, you could use it almost like a club. And it kept pulling on the other side of his arm, so he didn't wear it that much. So finally he just quit altogether.
I used to be right-handed, so I had to adjust over to my left side, and so I ended up missing the first grade of school and going to Saskatoon a lot of time to school in the summer times. Most of my summer holidays were gone going to school trying to get adjusted to being left-handed and learn how to use my left hand properly. I was always told that I could do pretty much anything I wanted. Dad always said to know where your limitations were and ask when you needed help. The sports gave you a lot of confidence, a lot of self-confidence to go ahead and do other things. And I think that's where a lot of my self-confidence came from, was my participation in a lot of sports. We were in 4-H. Dad put us in 4-H early, and we had a riding club that we had a musical ride with, and it got us going. We traveled all over the country going to horse shows and fairs and that kind of stuff. And that was basically our summer holidays. Before I started farming, I spent a lot of time out away from home in the wintertime most of the time, and I actually spent 10 years in the oil patch, driving truck on the oil rigs and that for 10 years. Before that, I spent a year in Edmonton making ice at the curling rink. When I was driving truck in the oil patch, we became good friends with the guy that owned the company, and I asked him one time why he actually hired me, because I'd been turned down basically because of your disability from other jobs and that. And he basically looked at me and he said, I could never figure out how you were going to drive a 13-speed truck. So he said, I had to hire you to find out how to do it. I was fortunate that I lost my right arm, so it allowed me to, when I reach across, I still keep control of steering wheels and stuff like that. So if I have to do something with somebody that's lost their left hand, it becomes a little bit more of a question. I try to find somebody that has a similar accident. As far as adjusting to using the equipment, most of my equipment hasn't got any adaptations to it. I've done some adaptations for fences and that, because to do a gate up and that when you got livestock, it's pretty tough. So as I've got the chains on most of my gates. Well, one of the things that we've done to make things a lot easier is to put an electric door on the Quonset, so that with one hand over hand them chains, it doesn't work very well with one hand. So with Mum, it makes it a lot easier to put electric doors to go up and down, because feeding cattle every day and that, you're in and out of that Quonset every day. Tractors, they're all made for right-handed people, but so you have to kind of adapt to them. Basically, the front-end loader tractor, we've put a joystick in it, which is, you can get with most of them. It's a little added expense. But it makes for one-handed operation with the front end loader, and especially with the grapple, you need the 3 hydraulics. So all of them run off of that one stick, which makes it a lot easier to operate with one hand. I guess in 1976 I became involved with the Disabled Farmers, and with this organization I could see where we could actually help people to avoid all the pitfalls that some of us had already learned. And you know, maybe help them with getting their stuff set up so that they could continue farming. I guess one of the things sitting on the board, a lot of people realize that just because you're disabled, you can be a very active participant in the community and all the way through whatever you want to participate in, and that you know, I guess your voice is as good as anybody else's. In fact, maybe more so, because you're coming at it from a little different perspective. My name is Bob Guest. I'm here with the Disabled Farmers, maybe to talk a little bit about your accident and see how you're doing with your farm. The peer counseling came out of the visitations when we started with the Disabled Farmers. One of the things that we did was go in and do visitations to the injured person and that. So we got into the peer counseling. We found the person that has the accident, sometimes he gets on with life and continues. It's the other people wondering what they could have done or what they should have done. With that, we can get the things that they need to help them. Whatever their disability is, it's a whole different world when somebody with the actual disability that's been successful, and come and talk to them, they can see there's a life after the accident. I mean, you have to have a certain amount of self-confidence and the right type of people, which I hope the Disabled Farmers give to that.